Hello, 7th graders. Today is day 2 of the expository essay lesson. Be sure that you've completed the lesson from yesterday before you complete this one or before you start this one. The lessons are supposed to go in order, and if you don't do them in order, you may struggle with completing the steps. Let's go ahead and start. Now, first things first, let's go ahead and break up the prompt and brainstorm. I'm going to give you your prompt for this lesson. You're going to be writing your first essay of the year. Make sure you have your LMB or a journal and something to write with. If you need time to get your materials, please press pause at this moment and quickly grab your materials. We're going to examine the prompt now. Here's your prompt that you're going to be working with for the next couple of weeks. At the top, you notice that it says expository. That's the genre. That's the type of essay you're going to be working with. Very similar to the example I showed you in yesterday's video. And here we see the 3 words, read, think, and write, just like yesterday. Read the following quotation. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. Michael Jordan. Think about the following statement. No one can achieve success without overcoming obstacles. Write an essay explaining the importance of never giving up. Be sure to clearly state your controlling idea, organize and develop your explanation effectively, choose your words carefully, use correct spelling, capitalization, punctuation, grammar, and sentences. Grammar does matter, guys. You got to be really careful with those grammar rules, making sure you're writing incomplete sentences and all that stuff. Before I move on, we talked about this yesterday in the video. Be sure to somehow identify or mark off, circle box, what your prompt is. Your prompt is to write an essay explaining the importance, let me erase that up here, guys. To write the importance of never giving up. Remember, not to mess up and write about this or what's above it. Your prompt's always going to be next to the word write. So you are to write an essay explaining the importance of never giving up. If you want to write this on your paper in your LMB, you may do so. Go ahead and just write where it says write all the way to where the period is at the end. Now, let me go ahead and erase some of the notes that carry on to the next page. When you are brainstorming, it is a huge step of your essay. It is important not to skip this part. Please set up your paper like so. Have a big oval in the middle and then draw some lines. Let's make yourself a little web here. We're going to be doing this type of brainstorming every time you do an expository essay. So go ahead and do that right now in your LMB. Here's a different visual. It's a little more clear than the other image. And what we're doing here is we're taking the prompt and we're making it into a question. So instead of putting in the middle, write an essay why it's important to never give up, I'm taking that statement, or you're taking that statement, and you're going to change it into a question. The question now says, why is it important to never give up? And then what you're going to do is you're going to answer that. And right here where these little legs are, I want you to briefly tell me why it's important to never give up. Let me give you one example, or I'll give you one of my reasons why I think it's important to never give up. I think it's important to never give up because it prepares you for future obstacles that come your way. I also think it's important to never give up because it teaches you character and grit. I also think it's important to never give up because you'll never learn your true potential if you give up. And I could go on and on, right? For now, I want you to answer the question with 4 reasons. If you need some time to think and time to brainstorm, pause the video, Remember, as we're doing these lessons, it's important that you're actually doing this in your notebook as well as in a puzzle. Once you've made your selection, or once you've made your selections, I want you to choose your top 2 reasons. I want you to look at all the reasons you wrote down here, and I want you to tell me by circling which are your 2 favorite reasons. Which are the 2 reasons that you feel you could elaborate and write an entire paragraph about? If you can't write a paragraph about it, then maybe it's not a good idea to choose that reason. The next step, we're going to use what we just did in the previous page to write a controlling idea. A controlling idea is the heart of your essay. It is the most important thing about your paper because your whole paper is based off this statement. So I want you to choose your 2 favorite reasons, and you're going to plug them in using one of these stems. So say I'm a student, I'm going to choose this first stem to use, right? I would put, it is important to never give up because you'll never learn your true potential, and it teaches you how to be prepared for future obstacles in life. You get what I'm doing here? I'm just taking my 2 reasons that were on my previous page, whatever you put here. You're going to choose 2 of them, and then you're going to plug them in to one of these sentences here, one of these sentence stems. If you do not have a clear and strong controlling idea, you could possibly be given a 1 or 0. And that's for the STAR test. Go ahead and write that at the bottom of your brainstorming. Now, when we are taking our information, it's eventually going to get transferred to the Foursquare. So not only do you have a paper to brainstorm like you did over here, you also now going to transfer this information to your Foursquare. You see how we go from here? Or better yet, there's a process here. You see that? And now we end up here. On the next page of your notebook, draw the 4 squares, draw a line down the middle and a line across. And I want you to label each box with the following words. Make sure to give yourself enough room in between to write information. You're going to be taking information, you're going to be writing it in. Before we end, you are going to take your controlling idea and you're going to write that sentence that we just made up. And you're going to write it right here where it says controlling idea. So that statement that we just made with the 2 reasons goes right here. That is all you are doing today. Do not worry about any of the other information in the other sections, only where it says controlling idea. Make sure though that you leave enough room because tomorrow you're going to write some information up here and down here. Please do that right now. In your Foursquare, plug in your controlling idea.